Welcome to the Tuning In podcast, where we talk alignment, intuition, and our internal guidance system. We cover woo-woo topics in an approachable and practical way. I'm your host, Dana Evans of Alignful.com. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Tuning In podcast. Welcome. I'm on the mend. I hit my peak horrible day last week on Friday, and I've been kind of recovering ever since from my massive cold. But as I think I shared on last week's episode, I choose to see colds and sickness as an energetic release and making space for something new. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I'm happy to be kind of back on my feet, and I've had this weird desire to nest, and I've been organizing the house and doing a few home updates, and it's kind of fun. Something about this time of year is really drawing me to that energy. So as always, I follow aligned and inspired action, which means when that strikes, I just follow it because I know it's leading me towards something that I personally need. So that's my little update. I hope your January is off to a really good start. Or if you're sick, I hope you're releasing what you need to release. And this week on the podcast, we're going to be talking a little bit about that release and what you're feeling and what you're desiring in January and how to really connect with that, not based on external expectations, but really following your joy and following an aligned action plan for you. So without further ado, here's this week's episode. Hello. I'm so happy to be here today. And this week, it's funny, I just pulled a card from Gabrielle Bernstein's Universe Has Your Back card deck, which I just adore. And something about it inspired me because I was on a call yesterday with the team of coaches that I coach with for James Wedmore's Business by Design community. And one of the team members, we call her our resident witch, and we had her pull a card for the team. And interestingly, the card that came out was Rest and Restore. And I aligned with that so much because as I talked about in last week's episode number 18, I really haven't been feeling that vibe of 2020 goals and hit the ground running and that intensity of doing as we come into the new year. And I loved that this card brought us to the idea of rest and restoring. And today I just pulled a card for you all, and it says, "When I focus on my inner light, I see the world through the lens of love." So you can interpret that however you want, but what I think about when I focus on my inner light is my internal alignment. What is right for me? Because when I can prioritize and when you can prioritize your own equilibrium, your own alignment, then you're able to shift your own perspective and show up in the world with love and see the world, like this says, through a lens of love. And I think that's so powerful. I had the first coaching call with one of my VIP clients this weekend, and she's in the Align in 5 membership, and she joined the VIP option, which, by the way, it's just so magical because she's getting 4 one-on-one coaching calls with me that include inner voice coaching and then a couple topical consultations, and we can talk about anything that she wants for those. But through this call that we had, she and I came to this realization that what she's needing right now is alignment. She's needing what she called a self-loving routine. And I just love this because we got on the call and she was saying, okay, well, it's the new year. I'm striving for balance this year. I want to do all of these things because if I create a rigid routine and I define balance in my terms, then I think this is what it's going to create. And you may resonate with that, right? 2020, a brand new year, releasing a whole new decade. And now it's time for you to whip yourself back into shape. I know it's cliche, but even now, all I see on Instagram is, new year, new you. How are you going to be better this year? How are you going to redefine this decade? What new routines, what new things are you going to do? Because doing is what we think is going to help us be better. But I feel that this energy is coming from not already being worthy, not already being good, not already being perfect. It's this desire to fix and change and amend yourself. And while I believe in growth and I think it's cornerstone to our soul's evolution, I also believe that we are already in a beautiful place wherever you are as an individual. So just like with any intention you set or any action that you do, you have to first be aligned with why. Why are you wanting to do more things? Why are you wanting to change yourself? And if it's coming from the perspective of I need to fix myself because I'm not good enough and I must be better, then that is not truly aligned because that is coming from a place of lack. And the energy, I have a whole episode on this, the energy that you put in to doing is going to directly affect the output of the doing. So just like we talked about at the very beginning of this episode, I need to focus on my inner light. I need to focus on my alignment. And then I can create an aligned action plan from that place. And that place, I believe, should come from abundance and not lack. When I focus on my inner light, I see the world through the lens of love. So what happened with this client, she's so amazing and she's so coachable and so willing. She had this own realization is she doesn't need a militant routine that will make her better. She actually discovered that she needs to be more connected and listen to her inner self, her inner voice, and act from a place of inspired action and alignment. What about you? What comes up when I say that? Look at your goals, look at your intentions, look at all you want to create in 2020, and then ask yourself, what is the root of this desire? Because everything we want to do, it stems from a desire to feel a certain way. And it also stems from, right, we have that intention behind the action. So I want you to look at what is the intention behind my desire and what is my ultimate desired feeling that I want out of this intention. And if you look at it from that perspective, I promise you, give yourself the time. If you look at it from that perspective, you will be able to uncover your core desired feelings. For example, my core desired feelings, a couple of them are joy, freedom, and abundance. I want to feel those things. So track back a lot of my goals and my desires. It's because I think by doing or getting or being that thing, it will give me more of those feelings. And this is beautiful. But I can also have those feelings in any given moment because feelings and emotions come from our thoughts. And I can conjure up more of those feelings in my everyday life by doing really simple things. See, we often try to make these radical changes, especially with the new year, because we want to become a radical new person. But as I say over and over and over again, you are what you repetitively do, think, and feel. So if you have this radical desire to make this big change in your life or shift your routine or become this whole new person, but it's stemming from this place of lack, then every time you think about that desire, every time you try to be that new person, you're also thinking about lack. Actually creating from a place of lack, and that is not abundant, right? That isn't going to serve your ultimate goal. So the question becomes, what can I do in the small moments? What thoughts can I have in the in-between of my day that are aligned with who I ultimately want to be and become? So you start to ask yourself, well, what is my bigger vision for myself? Like for me, who is Dana 4.0? And what does she think? What does she desire? What does she do on a regular basis? And then you start to track back those small things. It's less about the giant action steps that you take and more about the micro thoughts, the micro feelings, and the micro actions that you're doing every single day. Every single day. It matters because you've gotten to where you are because of those things. And if you're not willing to track back and look at who you are being every day, who you aren't being, then you're never truly going to make these big changes. So on one end of the coin, it's actually really empowering, right? Because it's not that you have to radically change yourself in this big, giant way. But sometimes that's easier than stepping back, slowing down, tuning in, and actually witnessing who you are being. Because that, my friend, is where accountability, responsibility, and integrity come in. Who are you being? Where do you let yourself slide? Oh, I am so guilty of this. I watch these TV shows. Some of them are so bad, but lately I've been watching SEAL Team, and I started watching it when I was really sick because I just couldn't really focus on anything. But where I see that creeping in is like if I want to take a lunch break, then my brain wants to then watch an episode or 2 or 3 of this show. And ultimately, I know that, okay, me choosing this is probably not serving my bigger vision. I choose it every single day, right? Here and there, it's fine. When I'm sick, it's fine, but it's a slippery slope because next thing I know, I'm watching it every day and wow, what a waste of time, frankly. Because there's a lot that I desire and a lot that I want to do and spend my time and energy on that actually lights me up. And this show is really a way for me to numb out. Okay, I'm aware of that. And now that means the responsibility is on me to choose differently. Maybe not every day, but I have to start making that choice if I want to align with Dana 4.0. If I want to find true alignment, I need to take actions that are really feeling aligned for me. And sometimes watching a show like this actually does feel aligned, but I'm super aware right now that it's more of a numbing and it's an avoidance technique than an alignment technique. And we learn this by tuning in and connecting to our inner beings, to our inner voices, and really witnessing who we are being. So I ask you, what are you doing on a regular basis that you actually know is not serving you? What thoughts are you thinking? What are you being critical to yourself about and judging and holding against yourself that is not serving your own evolution and growth, that is pulling you out of alignment, right? That is pulling you from your inner light. When I focus on my inner light, I see the world through the lens of love. So when you focus on your inner alignment, how much more value does it give you to show up in everyday life than when you're out of alignment, out of integrity? But this doesn't happen without awareness. This doesn't happen without the pause, without checking in. We don't necessarily know what we need or what we want or what our deeper growth is looking for if we don't first check in with what we're doing now. So, my invitation to you is take a moment this week and pause and get a pen and paper, pull out your notes app, whatever, and just ask yourself, what thoughts are holding me back? What feelings do I keep getting stuck in? What actions am I taking? What things am I doing that are not serving my highest good? And I say doing, I mean this these are things that you're doing regularly, thinking regularly, feeling regularly, okay? This is the loop, the cycle that we kind of get stuck in, the known, that even may be comfortable and serving you on a secondary level, right? It's keeping you feeling safe or in a victim place, right? But witness, and you're not going to get the answer immediately, but that's why I say write down the questions and then notice throughout the day. Notice if you're starting to fall into a loop or a spiral. I do this. I did this on Sunday. I did too much. I started to feel better, and then I went crazy doing and organizing and cleaning, and then I got really burned out at the end of the day. And 2 cycles that I caught myself from falling into. The first was I was like, oh, I need a drink to calm down. Well, first of all, I was still sick and I really did not need a drink. That wasn't really going to serve me at that point. Second spiral was starting to worry and feel anxious because I'd spent a week not doing. And then all of a sudden I was feeling better and I felt all this internal pressure of like, oh God, you have to catch up. There's all these things you have to do and you didn't do anything and you need to be better and you have to start this week off right and you better go, go, go. Oof. Doesn't that sound horrible? That's not how I want to start my week. And so I caught myself. I don't always, but this time I caught myself and I was like, hold on. I'm not even 100% better. My week has been fine. I needed the rest. I've gotten done exactly what needed to get done. And I've allowed myself the deeper need of rest. And everything that needs to get done this week can get done. I have time. I have energy. I have space. And more importantly, I have my health, which is what I've been working on for the past week. And then I made my favorite mocktail, which is my tart cherry juice with soda water. And I sat down and started reading a new book. It's called Wild Power. It's about our menstrual cycles, and I love it. But that is a completely different energy. And even as I recap it to you, I'm reminded of how valuable it is to witness our own spirals, to know thyself, so that you can make the choice to shift your perspective, right? To see the world through the lens of love, to choose your own alignment first, and then move forward. Because that is the place where you have the aligned action plan, which I'm going to do a full episode and guide about in the future. And that's also the place that you can create, as my client realized, a self-loving routine, which is really just being connected to your inner voice throughout the day and choosing based on what's serving your highest alignment as often as you possibly can. Because, again, as the card says, when I focus on my inner light, I see the world through the lens of love. So, my friends, can you focus on yourself this week? Can you find your inner light? Can you make choices based on your own alignment? And can you be guided by that with the smallest of choices throughout the week? And how does that feel when you do that? What core desired feeling does that ignite within you that you then get to spread out to the world? I'm so grateful to each of you on this podcast. As always, if this resonates with you, if you think it will resonate with anyone else, please share it. That is how we spread the word and connect to this greater healing through everyone. Have a beautiful Woo Woo Wednesday, and I will see you next week. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Tuning In podcast. As always, if this would resonate with anyone you know, please share the episode. You can follow along with my journey on Instagram at Dana_Evans, or find me on my website at alignful.com.